So in terms of the definition of the change strategy, why do we need this? So we need to develop and assess the alternative approaches. So these are all identification, all the potential approaches and the ways to embrace changes, to be able to understand all the risks, potential risks, and then come up with the best approach or the way that we can use to deploy the resources to solve the problem or to take the opportunity in hand, right? So that is primarily why we need to define a change strategy. It's basically to be able to come up with how we can accept, adapt ourselves to be able to manage the risks, to be able to prepare and accept the change and embrace it, and then be able to take it on further from there. So when you talk about change strategy, again, we talk about, in the context of, let's say, agile, we have had so many different discussions in the past about what are changes, what are the sources of change. So in this context as well, it's pretty much around change and what should be done to come up with a good way to address those changes. I think is important to understand the context of change, the background, and what are the potential scenarios that are leading to the change in terms of environment of usage, the people who are using, the target audience, the products, the applications that they use. What are the identified approaches for change strategies? What could be the ways that you have come up with that they could help to address those changes? So again, agile development is a very tried and tested set of methodologies here. So whether you call it as Scrum, Kanban, Lean, XP, or the scaled methods like SAFe, DSDM, all of those are different ways to address the change. Justifying why a particular change strategy is the best, and this is very important because each potential opportunity or a program has got its own set of challenges, its own set of changes that could potentially be thrown at us. So how we're going to react, how we're going to be able to come up with strategies to embrace those changes and accept and move on would be dependent on the specific set of the context is different, the people are different, the teams are different, the organization goals are different, the specific programs objectives could be different. So how we can try and look at each of these different aspects and then come up with one recommended approach. And that's what we need to, again, I think this goes back to the business case preparation as well. Investment and resource requirement, again, going back to the business case creation, what kind of investment we are talking about, what are the costs involved, what are the tangible benefits, what are the intangible benefits, what are the potential risks involved, and then come up with one final or one suggested or recommended solution to take up. And then value realization. Once we have delivered the solution, once we designed the solution, developed it, tested it, and then deployed it onto the production server, and then people are able to use it from the customer's point of view, the user's point of view, they're able to actually have a go at the solution. What is the benefit that's going to likely create after the deployment? It's not because every time we've got this kind of huge programs and projects worth loads of millions of dollars and pounds, that actually is an investment. So you invest money into that, you invest resources, time, effort, and money, and then try and create this huge website or a mobile application or an enterprise product or change the process. But the real benefits of the value of that particular program, project, product, application, whatever it is, would only come after you're done with the development, right? So this is the cost that you incurred, the total cost of development or maintenance or whatever, and then the benefit would start accruing only after it got into the hands of the customers or users, only when they start experiencing, only when they start putting in the money to buy some things or when they start giving money to maintain that. That's when you start realizing the benefit of that huge investment. So that's the return. So you need to really balance out the investment, which is the cost that is required for us to develop a particular product or a solution, and then the benefits potentially that would come through only after you deploy that particular solution into the live environment and make it available for the customers and users. So how are you going to kind of define these benefits vis-a-vis the costs, which one works out cheaper, which one works out expensive, the options and things like all of that. Again, that comes in terms of how you're defining your business case. And then key stakeholders in the change, obviously this is a very important step. We have done this beforehand. We've identified all the stakeholders at every step, in fact every activity in the entire business analysis, a set of areas of activities that we are involved, the knowledge areas. We have been specifically trying to understand what kind of stakeholders we need to engage in and how we're going to engage them, what kind of communication needs to be flowing from us to them and from them to us. So we're discussing that, which is really, again, very important. So when it comes to the input output in terms of the defined change strategy activity, the stakeholder engagement approach is very important, which we've already defined. How are we going to engage the stakeholders, depending on what level of stakeholders they are, strategic level, tactical level, operational level, and then depending on that and the role that they play, understanding their power, their influence, and the interest in the project, we came up with the comprehensive strategies, and so that's what is important here. So that's going to be a key input for us. Also, the as is description of how we are defined the current state of the problem, the opportunity, the needs, challenges, all of that, and then the proposed solution, the future state description of where we want to go from here, the vision, and how we're going to get there, the risk analysis results, what are the kind of potential risks that could come through in the journey from the as is to the to be path. So that's all of these are going to be the key inputs for us. And then we are coming to define the change strategy as to what could be the potential ways that you can address the change strategy. We need to identify a whole plethora of ideas, of options, of techniques and stakeholders. All of those would be coming in the next few slides. Very important to understand those. And then we also need to look at the change strategy as an output, because that's going to be the end result of all the activities and tasks that we do here. And then we come up with the final solution scope, which could again be part of where we want to go and what is lying within the boundaries of that, what is lying outside and what is inside of that potential solution. And then how we're going to address that is the change strategy, the how part, the game plan, right? So that's what we're going to address in this defined change strategy. So again, coming to the solution scope, the change strategy, these are the two important outputs that will come out of